Every Hindu temple you have ever seen in India, every carving, every pillar, every shikhra, all of it traces back to one forgotten village in Karnataka. A village so ancient that even Parsurama is said to have washed his axe in its river. This is Aihole, and this is where Indian architecture was born. Historians and UNESCO both call it the same thing, the cradle of Indian temple architecture. Not Varanasi, not Mathura, not Madurai. This small village on the banks of the Malaprabha river in Karnataka. This is where it all began. But why here? In the 6th century, the Chalukya kings had a problem. They wanted to build temples, grand temples, temples worthy of their gods and their empire. But nobody knew how. There was no blueprint, no tradition, no established style. North India had one way of building, South India had another, and nobody had ever combined them. So the Chalukyas did something extraordinary. They turned Aihole into a laboratory, a living, breathing laboratory of architecture. They built one temple, studied it, changed something, built another, studied that, changed something else. Over 120 temples, each one slightly different from the last. Each one an experiment, each one asking, can we do this better? Imagine an entire village functioning like an ancient architecture workshop. Over 200 years, generation after generation of architects, sculptors, and craftsmen came to Aihole. They tried every style, every technique, every combination. Some temples look like Buddhist prayer halls. Some look like North Indian temples. Some look like South Indian temples. Some look like nothing else on earth because they were experiments. And the greatest experiment of all, the Durga temple. Built between the 6th and 8th centuries, this temple broke every rule. Its shape is semicircular, like a Buddhist Chaitya hall. But it is a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu and Surya. Nobody had ever built a Hindu temple in this shape before. And even its name is a mystery. The Durga temple is not named after goddess Durga. It is named after the Sanskrit word Durga, meaning fort, because it stood inside a fortification. 1,400 years of people thinking it was dedicated to one goddess when it was actually dedicated to another. And then the Lad Khan temple, the oldest stone-built temple in all of Aihole, standing since the 5th century, still standing today. And the Meghutijan temple, built in 634 CE, which has something no other temple in the region has. A dated inscription, 634 CE, carved in stone, still readable today, 1,400 years old, and still telling us exactly when it was built. But here is the most extraordinary thing about Aihole. In this one small village, Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism all existed side by side. Hindu temples next to Jain temples next to Buddhist cave shrines, all built by the same dynasty, all respected equally. Religious harmony, not just preached, but carved into stone and practiced for centuries. UNESCO says the Malaprabha river valley, where Aihole, Badami, and Pattadakal all sit, was transformed into the cradle of Indian temple architecture by the early Chalukyas. Everything that came after, the Rashtrakutas, the Hoysalas, the Vijayanagara Empire, all of them learned from what was built here. Every temple you have ever visited in South India, every carving you have ever photographed, every pillar you have ever touched, was built by someone who learned, directly or indirectly, from the experiments done in this small village. Aihole didn't just build temples. Aihole taught India how to build temples. And yet, most Indians have never heard of it. A place that changed Indian history and almost disappeared from public memory. That changes today. But the story of the Chalukyas, the empire that created all of this, does not end here. Because the same empire that built these 3 extraordinary cities was slowly being destroyed from within. That story is episode 5. Follow Journey Jodi. Because episode 5 will show you how the greatest architectural empire in Indian history fell apart. Comment Aihole if Aihole just made it to your travel list.